The Boston Red Sox have called up their big three to AAA Worcester. Marcelo Mayer, Roman Anthony, and Kyle Teel will start on August 12th, 2024 at Polar Park. On August 11th, the three were called up. The report from Alex Spear, which we'll show you in just a second. Hello, everyone. I'm Evan Sharrard, and today we are going to be taking a look at Marcelo Mayer, Roman Anthony, and Kyle Teel. We've talked a lot about them here, so it's time that we finally broke them down as players. We've talked about all their potential. We're going to talk about their potential again, but first, let's talk about the excitement and the report here. So let's switch over to our camera here. Please make sure that you subscribe to Red Sox Digest to make sure that you're up to date with all the latest Red Sox news. But now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the report from Alex Spear here. So the big three have come up to AAA Worcester. This has been a long time coming. I've been really excited for this, really, because we've been waiting for Marcelo Mayer since he was drafted after the Red Sox were one of the worst teams in baseball, and these other two guys have really just been a bonus, and they are top prospects in baseball. So we're going to get looking at some of these numbers right away as we're going to take a look at Marcelo Mayer here. And Marcelo Mayer, sorry if these stats are kind of hard to see. He's the 6th prospect in Major League Baseball and the 1st in the Red Sox system. Notably, he plays shortstop. Ceddanne Rafaela and Trevor Story are kind of going to be battling for that spot as Story's coming back into the lineup soon. But Rafaela's played a strong shortstop there, and he might even be moved over to second, depending on what happens with Mayer in the future couple years. But I've highlighted a couple stats. If you can't see them, don't worry about it. I'll just read them to you. The highlighted ones are really the on-base percentage and the average from this year. And last year, Marcelo Mayer really struggled at AA, and that was after playing multiple years in low A and high A ball. But now that he's actually made the jump to affiliated AA baseball, he has actually raked in 2024, and enough so that he got the call up into AAA Worcester. So some of these numbers, 377, 399, 406, 379, and 370 respectively for his on-base percentages that I have highlighted, the 370 in 2024. And although I don't have it highlighted, these OPSs are really strong. And to me, on-base plus slugging, anything over 800 is really, really good. And once you get to that 900 level, that you're talking about an MVP caliber player. So a MVP candidate in the minor leagues for sure, Marcelo Mayer is playing like. So I'm very excited to see how he performs in AAA Worcester, and he's one step away. He's in the heart of the Commonwealth now, playing in Worcester. He's only about a 50-minute drive from Boston now, trying to work his way to the bigs, and I'd be shocked if one of these three guys made it in September for September call-ups. I think these guys are next year for sure, but if they tear it up and are batting 500 by then, I would not put it out of the question. So that's Marcelo Mayer right now. He's been an exciting prospect to watch grow. He's known for his defense, and his power has been on the plus side now the past year, hitting just over 7 home runs this season with 8 and then 6 last season, 7 before 13. So he wasn't known for the power, but he's driven 28 doubles into each gap. So Mayer is going to be an exciting prospect to watch. I'm thinking that he's going to slot in at either short or second. He can play some third. So what could happen is if Devers' defense doesn't improve enough, Devers would move to DH. You preserve his body for much longer. He just plays DH, and then you've got Mayer at third, Rafaela at short, and then second is filled out. And I'll talk about second base in a second here, because there is an interesting thing that I think is going to happen if all three of these guys pan out. So that's Mayer. Now let's talk about Roman Anthony, who is going to be a center fielder, outfielder. I had to re-record this because I had Marcelo Mayer stats up here on accident, and I noticed like 5 minutes in, but here we are again, about 5 minutes in, and the thing I highlighted here, 3 things, all from this season: his stolen bases, his OPS, and his home run total. So Roman Anthony has been a power outfielder this year, and he's known to be a fast, rangy center fielder who can cover the gaps in center. And does that remind you of the Red Sox fans who've been watching baseball for at least over 10 years, hopefully much longer? Does that remind you of a number 19, number 26 center fielder at one point, Jackie Bradley Jr.? exceptional in the outfield. So Jackie, he might have been 25, not 26, but he was 19 at the end of the day. So Jackie Bradley, I wouldn't compare Anthony to Jackie Bradley. He's got some power and better average, and I don't think he's nearly the same defender. Jackie Bradley, one of the best defenders I've ever seen play in the outfield. But it's exciting to have a guy like this coming up, because then as Anthony gets to the big leagues, you have even more speed than we already have, and this is the fastest Red Sox team I've seen in years. Jarren Duran playing in center and left right now. And then in right field right now, you have Tyler O'Neill, who's closer to 30 than Anthony or Duran are, although Duran is close at 27. So then you have those two, and then you've also got Yoshida, who probably won't be playing in the outfield. And then you've got Wilyer Abreu, who's been better than average and been better than expected, I think, really this year and last year too. So where Roman Anthony's going to fit in is going to be interesting. And will O'Neill be gone? And what's going to happen with that? Anthony's going to be coming up in either the next year or two. And I'm really excited to see how these guys perform in AAA. So that's Roman Anthony. After we talk about Kyle Teel next, we're going to talk about the next few years and how these guys might fit in. So let's talk about Kyle Teel. Kyle Teel is perhaps the most intriguing change to the future Red Sox team, because Kyle Teel has driven in a ton. He's an RBI machine, and I want to take a look at, I know it's 3 games, so I probably should have looked at that a little harder, but the OPS overall is really strong. He played in 84 games in AA this season, and he's got an 8.52, 852 OPS. That's nearing that elite MVP level of play. He walked 48 times, struck out 87, so I'm really happy to see that number under 100. That's about over a strikeout a game, but the 48 walks is exciting to see as well. The average is up there, and to have an average up there as a catcher, I know it's the minor league levels, but when you're batting that way in the minors, that means that you should be able to at least be, give or take 60 points. So if he's batting 230 in the majors right now, that's pretty good for a guy who's never seen big league pitching before. And you hope that average can continue to pull up. So hitting about 298, and with those 60 RBIs, he has been a clutch machine. So obviously, the stage from playing in Portland, Maine, and then playing in Worcester, Mass. By the way, best AAA stadium, maybe best minor league stadium in all of baseball. That place is absolutely fantastic, and the place that Dr. Charles Steinberg and Larry Lucchino built there years ago is just awesome. So if you're in Massachusetts, get down to a Woo Sox game, because the Worcester Red Sox have really put on a beautiful ballpark, and it's all about the fan experience. So I digress, but Kyle Teel, 3rd Red Sox prospect overall, and he's a catcher, and he is a catcher. He's going to play catcher in the major leagues. He's, again, a pretty good defensive catcher, known for his arm and known for his ability to hit as well. So that's awesome. Now let's talk about where I think that this could be going. I think that a future lineup could actually feature Kyle Teel catching and Connor Wong playing second. Now, Connor Wong has played second in his career before, and a few nights ago we saw him playing first base, and Alex Cora, I think, knows that he's got versatility with Wong. But Wong really won the starting catching job this year, and he's been one of the best catchers in baseball offensively this year, and he's gunning runners out left and right, which reminds me of my favorite catcher, Christian Vasquez, who was playing pretty much all throughout while I was growing up and watching the Red Sox. And I can't forget the Sandy Leone. He was the fan favorite, and before that, Ryan Hannigan was there for a little bit with a few other guys mixed in between. And Jason Varitek was pretty good too. Yeah, how about him? But Christian Vasquez really holds a place in my heart, and I do think that Connor Wong is fast enough, mobile enough, and small enough that he can actually play a second base at a major league level. He kind of has shown that he has that mobility. And I think that we could be looking at a future lineup that gets pretty crowded for the Red Sox. And I do think Kyle Teel, if he pans out, remember, baseball prospects, they're not like, and for those that are unfamiliar, baseball prospects are not like football, basketball, prospects who you expect that the top guys, the top prospects, those guys are going to turn out. And if they don't turn out, they're going to be at least a serviceable starter. Maybe you expected this guy to be a Hall of Famer or an elite superstar, but baseball, anybody can be looking great, and then where the heck are they? You haven't seen them for 5 years and you've forgotten all about Rusney Castillo. So just remember that with all the things that I'm saying, because these guys look great. And I think, let's say they all turn out, Kyle Teal's your starting catcher in a year or two. Connor Wong's playing second base. Rafaela's playing shortstop. Devers is DHing. You've got Mayer at third. And at first base, you've got Tristan Casas. That is very exciting to have that infield. I mean, that's a young, talented infield that you could have like Chaim Bloom wanted a few years ago. Hey, maybe he was doing a good job drafting those players. I know he really screwed up with missing out on Xander Bogaerts, but when the Padres are going to pay him what they are for his age, you gotta have to let them, unfortunately, as much as I love Xander. I mean, he was my heart and soul, and Devers' his best friend, and you can't let that go. But the future for the Red Sox looks really bright based on who we've got here. So you've got Anthony crowding the outfield. Duran is certainly going to be there unless there's some crazy trade, and Duran's probably going to move to left field, and then you have Anthony in center field, and in right field, do you have O'Neill? Do you have Abreu? And it's probably going to be Abreu because O'Neill's going to be a free agent soon, and Abreu's got lots of control left under his contract. That guy's going to be, as long as he continues, a strong defender and a strong power hitter and a lefty too. So all of a sudden you're talking about a completely rejuvenated roster, and that's the starting nine for the Red Sox. So although the pitching had been great this year and it's struggling as of lately, I'm hopeful that the Red Sox can continue to push, break that losing streak they've got against the Rangers, and hopefully these young guys can come up in a few years. Maybe this year, if they really tear it up. I think that's almost that's very unlikely. I don't think that's happening. But next year, I would say you could bank on 2 of the 3, if not all 3, coming up, all depending on how they play. But that's the latest from me at Red Sox Digest. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Evan Sharrard, once again saying so long. I'll see you again very soon.